You ready for some NFL football?
Hell yeah.
Alrighty. So Thursday night game happened a couple days ago down here in Arizona. It was the Cardinals versus the Packers. Packers team comes in with a whole bunch of people on the COVID list.
Yep.
Most of their wide receiver core that is worth mentioning, aka Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard.
Yep.
They also have defensive coordinator Barry, who wasn't able to be at the game because of COVID protocol. But the Cardinals also took a big hit this week with J.J. Watt going out.
They did. So they did lose. There was a lot of things happening on both sides. The team's missing a lot of players. I figured that this game was going to come down to a war of attrition on who was going to have enough talent to outlast the other guys, just because there were so many fucking things that were happening with this game. And I, of course, bet on the Cardinals because if you're missing wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2, that's really tough to come back from a secondary, especially on a secondary that's played very well for the Cardinals recently. And of course, I got screwed because Aaron Rodgers decided he was going to do Aaron Rodgers things and then just make it fucking work. Now, he didn't have great numbers, but he was clutch when he had to be.
Yeah, it was an interesting game plan from the Packers overall. I mean, A.J. Dillon, their backup running back.
17 carries.
Yeah, 16 with 78 yards, but still he was their leading rusher. You expect to see Aaron Jones in that role.
That's what I expected.
They were using different pieces in different spots. You could tell that the Packers were lacking in that wide receiver depth because you had a lot of dropped balls and stuff like that. Aaron staring daggers at people. But
at one point, Aaron called a time. He told one of these new receivers to go out to a certain spot. You can see him making hand movements, and the receiver kind of like talks back and says like, "No, man, this is where I'm supposed to be." And then Aaron calls a fucking timeout. I thought Aaron was going to go over there, grab this kid by his goddamn face mask, and just rip him off the field. Listen, if Aaron tells you to go somewhere and you just showed up this week, just fucking go there, dude. He knows what he's talking about. He was able to pull this fucking game off with basically no wide receiver talent outside of Randall Cobb, who is a little bit past his prime, but has still been effective now that he's back with the Packers.
Yeah, he's got that rapport with Aaron Rodgers. So that was, if you were a fantasy player picking up Cobb or going after him, at least for this week, it was a smart play because you knew that connection was going to be there and that was going to be one of his main targets. Another one of the main receiving targets, though, for the Packers, Robert Tonyan, he goes down with torn ACL, which, is definitely going to hurt the Packers going forward. I believe that they still have, like, Mercedes Lewis or something like that.
They do, who made a fucking amazing one-handed catch that did not count.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the best catch of the year.
Great catch, stepped out of bounds in the back of the end zone. Yeah. Is what it is. Look, the Packers obviously putting up 24 points is no joke. That's what you would expect to see just from, a decent offense.
And this is against the number one scoring defense in all of the NFL in the Arizona Cardinals.
But, that I want to say more that the Cardinals beat themselves. Whenever they had the ball on offense, they did not take advantage of turnovers and things like that. Whereas the Packers, so I'll give the Cardinals some credit. They had some really good goal line stands. They had Rondale Moore muff a punt, basically, where he didn't muff it, but he went for it and then decided not to catch it, but it dragged across his fingers, and then the Packers ended up getting it down on like the 1 yard line, which was a very bonehead play, but he's a rookie. It's a mistake. These things are going to happen. But the Cardinals had some really good goal line stands, which you did not expect to see from them, especially there at the end of the game. The Packers are down there on like the 1 yard line, and the Cardinals are able to hold them, and hold them on fourth down and get the ball back. And then they drive all the way down the field to get that game-winning score. They're actually managing the clock pretty well. Yeah, they're taking time off the clock when they want to. They're saving time when they want to. And then they get down there, and they're within 10 yards of the end zone.
14 seconds, no timeouts. That means you got at least 2 shots at the end zone.
Yep, and after those 2 shots, then if they don't work out, you kick a field goal and send it to overtime. Yep. They're set up for it. And then Kyler throws an interception.
Well, Kyler threw the interception, but I don't know if I want to blame Kyler for this interception.
That's true. So AJ Green just fucking the meme going around there is the Madden screen,
Controller
disconnected because it just looked like he just fucking was like, just didn't turn around, didn't look for the ball at all, and the defensive back played the role of wide receiver in that situation, and it was a pretty easy pick for him.
Yeah. So watching it back and kind of listening to the analysis by the guys on the call, I don't think AJ expected the ball, and I understand why, right? So you have 14 seconds. You have no timeouts. You can't be intercepted, right? You can't be sacked, none of that. On a one-on-one throw like that, you have got to win your route immediately. If you don't win it immediately, that ball should be going over your head. And AJ didn't win the route immediately. He didn't, get that extra step to get in position. So I'm not sure if he expects the ball to be in play. And if it is, it's going to the opposite side. You can see that AJ is looking up at the big screen in the replay because he didn't win his route immediately. So a little bit of that's on Kyler. Also, a little bit of that is on AJ Green. You got to just fucking run your route, man.
Yeah, it was. That's why. Yeah, AJ Green. I'm giving him shit for this, but I started off saying Kyler threw the interception. I didn't think it was the spot to go. I didn't think he gave enough time for anything to develop there.
Yeah, that's why I think AJ gets a little bit of a reprieve because he doesn't win it. He doesn't win the route immediately off the line. So he shouldn't be expecting the ball.
Yep. But either way, Packers win 24-21. I'm bummed about that, not just because we work and are around a whole bunch of Cardinals fans here down in Southern Arizona, but because I hate the fucking Packers, and I hate that there's this storyline or narrative now that, they can go out there with just down players and blah, 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 and then they can win. I fucking hate that shit. But
they're going back to the NFC Championship.
No, I don't think so.
We'll see if they can get through it this time.
I don't think that they'll go back. Look, the Packers are obviously playing well. They're 7-1. I don't think that they are. I don't think they're top 3 in the NFC. They might be 4, but I mean, I've got other.
So you're putting Rams, Bucks, and Cardinals over them?
I think that the Cardinals are in general better than them. Yeah.
I mean, they just beat them with that lack of guys. Now, I don't know if we're going to – I'm not pushing the narrative that they can go out there and beat anybody with anybody on the field because they have Aaron Rodgers. I think they get their asses beat if they're missing their top 2 receivers against the Bucks and against the Rams. If they have those 2 guys back, I think those are closer games.
But, I mean, you see teams like the Bengals and stuff like that. Obviously they held it out with the Packers when they had more players.
You mean the fucking leaders of the AFC – the Cincinnati Bengals?
I do.
I
think the Cowboys beat the Packers.
Ooh, I don't think so.
I mean, assuming that they're healthy, which we'll get into a little bit of the health stuff here. But if I'm looking at NFC teams, the Cardinals, Bucks, Bucks and Rams for sure, and then I think you're talking 3-4 being Cardinals and Cowboys.
Now the Cardinals were
with
missing
the Packers possibly eking their way in there, but I don't think that they're as good as what they're showing right now because they're playing some of these close games and teams are exposing them in different ways.
Yeah, so their defense is getting better for up there in Green Bay. So they are getting better in that aspect.
Their backers are playing better.
Their backers are. If the Cardinals have D-Hop in this game, the Cardinals win. D-Hop had that one big play early on. He was only out there for like one more snap, basically, and got a catch. I think this game maybe changes and the Cardinals can be better, but I want to see. This is a game I want to see where everybody's at max strength. This is going to tell us a lot about what's going to happen in the NFC, and we didn't get that. We kind of got robbed. We got a good game, but we got robbed of seeing 2 top-tier teams in the NFC have it out with all of their talent. The best thing that come out of this game, though, now I do like the meme of AJ Green. It's the fucking meme of Aaron Rodgers getting the shit knocked out of him on the ground.
I got it saved on my phone.
Huh?
I got it saved.
No, I figured you did.
Yeah, I like that picture where he just looks absolutely goddamn bamboozled with his helmet halfway on. I mean, realistically, he looks just like the meth head that everyone likes to make fun of him for being with that haircut. And, and
he looks like a
straggly fucking weirdo.
When they catch you underneath the car stealing catalytic converters.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I have not seen that one made yet, so we might have to put that out. Yeah, it was a good game. I cannot believe it ended the way it did. And it sucked because I had the Cardinals covering because they were missing wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 in Green Bay.
Yeah, I had the Cardinals winning this game as well in at least one pick. I haven't opened up my sports betting app because I just don't want to look at it until after the weekend is over. But also, like I alluded to, J.J. Watt out for the season. Potentially, probably.
It sounds like he's having the surgery.
Yeah, and they're saying even with the surgery that there's potential that he could come back at the end of the year. But, man, look, they're saying torn bicep, torn rotator cuff, dislocated shoulder. That's a lot. That's a lot to go through and expect to be able to be back by the end of the year. Now, obviously, if the Cardinals are making a deep run in the playoffs, then there's potential for it there. But that's the knock with J.J. Watt. Obviously, he was having a pretty good year, but he's an older guy and oft injured. And this is what you end up getting is that, he's
this was always the worry for Cardinals fans is how long is JJ going to last? Now they have Goldson, right? Who came in, has played very well. He did it in place of Chandler Jones. Now he's probably going to do that in place of JJ Watt. So they have a couple rotational pieces they can kind of piece that together. But this is always the worry. This is why I didn't want JJ Watt. I love JJ Watt. He's one of the great. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. What, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I believe so.
He's so fucking good, but he's at that point where he is a injury liability anytime he's on the field because he has been so banged up. It sucks for Cardinals fans. Just JJ, get healthy. If you can make it back, make it back. This might be your chance at a Super Bowl if the Cardinals can put it all together. I don't know if he'll get another one because he wasn't getting one down in Houston.
Yeah, look, the thing is he's obviously got stuff in the tank still. This guy can obviously still play at a very high, I wouldn't say elite, but a very high level. But I could see him walking away from the game after this too. I mean, it would be tough because he still has some of the tank. You still see some of that fire and that passion. But with these injuries and stuff like that, it's just such a liability for a team that I don't know that they're going to be paying him a big contract anymore.
Right.
That he's going to be on a snap count if he's on some of these teams to preserve his health. And I don't know.
All right.
Well, let's see the end of that.